Let's see, this light keeps shifting, so who knows? Who knows what's in focus, or if any of it's in focus. Welcome to another video. My name is Stephen Foster. Today I wanted to talk about why I reserved the Vanmoof V. And it starts, this story kind of all starts with this. I haven't pulled out far enough. That's better. The story kind of starts with this, the boosted board. This is actually, I think, the V2 boosted board. Which was kind of like the first, this was like the first electric vehicle that I ever had. And it was the first time that I looked at something that wasn't a car to meet part of my transportation needs. Now, I had the boosted board for about a year before I was convinced that that might be a good idea to have like an electric vehicle. And so I got a Tesla Model X. Had this for about, I think 4 years now. I don't think I will ever sell this car. It is just, it's been a workhorse. This thing is so reliable. It saved us a ton of money in the long run, not having to deal with gas or any of this other stuff. I think I've done now almost, let's see how many miles we've done on this thing. It looks like we've done about 83,000 miles on this vehicle. You may be asking then, why would I reserve and want to buy the Vanmoof V if I've already got the boosted board, have been using the boosted board, bought a Tesla, am happy with the Tesla, would like to buy another Tesla. But that's kind of where this whole calculation has come into play. You see, cost of any car at this point is up just insane amounts. I think when Tesla launched the Model 3, I think they said it was going to be like a $35,000 car, and now only about 3 years later, it's now like a $45,000 car. And then if you want like the long range or pretty much anything on top of the base, you're going to be paying around $50,000 plus taxes, which doesn't sound like the kind of setup I would want. At least I don't want to be paying that much for a second vehicle when this vehicle already sort of takes care of the basics. Now, my wife and I do have a second car. It's a 10-year-old, actually going on 11 years now. Ford, that's a small SUV. It has started to have some problems and is not the most reliable car in the world, but it does kind of work for putting around town, and it's been okay. Looking at now having to replace that car, we were initially looking at maybe getting another gas car, something cheaper than buying a whole nother Tesla. But with kind of the way gas has gone, it's been really clear that the total cost of ownership of even like a used car with putting gas in it is going to cost you about what an electric car is going to cost you over the long run. So for us, it kind of made sense to say, okay, maybe we buy another Tesla. But then I started looking more into this whole e-bike thing. Having done some of this where I've commuted on the boosted board for a little over a year, I'm kind of really intrigued by what kind of value I can get out of an e-bike, even though I've never owned an e-bike. Never had one. I don't think I've ever even owned a like normal bike in my adult life. I think I've posted something before about like we have a Peloton at the house. I mostly just do that to like, not die, or at least not get, to stay healthy. Like that's not like a, it's not like a, it's not a commuting thing, obviously. It's a stationary bike, so I'm not going anywhere with it. But I'm gonna get this thing parked, and then I'll talk a little bit more about why the Vanmoof V I think is so interesting. All right, actually I think this is gonna work out because my buddy Sam is going to meet me at this coffee shop, and we can talk about e-bikes a little bit. So let's do that. There he is. Oh, careful, puddles! Stepped in it. Yeah, it's a pretty good car. Big fan.
It's all right. It's not a gas-powered Subaru.
Okay, so Sam just had me like do a shoot with this drink right here. This is like the Hibiscus Habanero Spritzer. Nice little spring drink. Sawyer seems to approve.
Sounds so good.
It tastes good. You want to try some?
and use your straws.
That's tasty. Oh, you're still in the middle of this shoot, huh?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some. What, do you need something?
Well, I was gonna ask you about e-bikes.
E-bikes.
Do you have an e-bike?
I do, I have 2. I've had 3, I sold one.
Okay. So I reserved the Vanmoof V. Did I tell you about this already? Okay.
Yeah.
As someone who has an e-bike or has had multiple e-bikes, because you have 2 cars, one for each you and your wife. Do you see the e-bike as like a more recreational vehicle? Do you actually see it as like a third vehicle? Do you run any errands on it? How do you use your e-bike? Is the real question.
I got to shoot for them.
Yeah.
Right, so I didn't actually physically purchase it.
But if they're not going to pay me, maybe I shouldn't put it in.
Yeah. It's called. One of them was super nice. The thing is, if you can't carry them around, like you need to get some sort of trailer or and some of the e-bikes.
Because it'd be heavy.
Some of the e-bikes are really heavy. So the one that I had to sell was just barely over 100 pounds.
Okay, wow.
And so you can't get a normal bike rack for that. And the reason I sold it was because I live more in a suburban area.
Yeah.
If I lived where you live, I would use it as a third vehicle.
Okay.
Where I live, it is more recreation. And honestly, I use it mainly to go get my mail. Because it's like down like around the corner.
Yeah.
Take me about 5 minutes to walk go get the mail, or like 2 seconds on the e-bike.
Okay.
So that's what I use it for. But I am trying to get us those heavy duty bike racks, so my wife and I can put them on our car and take them to somewhere. And then we also have one of those like kid trailers that you can attach to the back of it.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to do that for the summer or spring.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it depends on where you live and what vehicles you have.
Fair enough.
I actually beefed out on mine because
that's right. I remember that.
I still have like a giant scar because I hit some loose gravel, and it was a fat tire e-bike too, and for some reason it just like
enough. Yeah.
And that was on the 100-pound bike too, so like it landed on my leg and I slid for.
Yeah, I remember.
It's just I was
how wrecked you got.
I was going like 5 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But like that loose gravel, I just like slid for days.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All important things to know.
Oh, sorry, that's yours.
Figured I'd bring it back to the studio because vlogging out and about was super fun, but I felt like we needed to get to the point. So a few key things that I'm looking at with reserving the Vanmoof e-bike. It is about $3,500 USD for one of these bikes. However, when I look at the current cost of gas, along with the rising costs of EVs, the trade-offs for something that again is just gonna be used for like putting around town, it makes me feel like I don't want to spend all that money on a car, or at least not right now. And what's different about something like the boosted board or looking at something like One Wheel, those have I think about a 6 to 10 mile range roughly. The Vanmoof previous S3 and X3 I believe have about 30 miles of range, or around 30 miles of range. If you're just using the throttle and not doing any pedal assist, I think with pedal assist you can get around 50 to 100 miles of range, depending on how much you pedal, how much you weigh, if you're bringing any cargo with you, things like that. That's really compelling because now no longer do you have something where maybe you can go and then you have to charge at your destination, come back, but you may be able to actually get to your destination, come back, and still have plenty of charge left to go do whatever it is you want to go. Another reason why I went with the Vanmoof is because Vanmoof already has a history of successful e-bike launches with their original line and then the V2s and V3s that have come out now over the years. They've proven that they can deliver a great bike, a well-made bike with all these additional features like the locking mechanism, like the Find My integration stuff, like the phone app integration type things. It just seems like they are the tried and true brand for this genre of bikes in this price range. I get that there are other e-bikes that you can get that are a little bit more affordable, but I think this is kind of like if you're expecting it to be a vehicle and something that you're gonna use every single day, I think you might wanna spend a little more money on it. One of the things that Sam did bring up in the coffee shop, which is something that I've seen with e-bikes, is weight. Now, A lot of road bikes weigh 20 pounds or less, and one of the drawbacks of having an e-bike is that they typically weigh a lot more because of that battery that's in there. The Vanmoof S3, which is Vanmoof's like road bike equivalent, is about 50 pounds. It's like 46 pounds. That's pretty heavy. I think for most people, you're not gonna be carrying this up and down stairs, at least not easily. And with the Vanmoof V, Vanmoof has yet to announce what the weight of that bike is going to be. I'm expecting it to be more than the Vanmoof S3. There's heavier shocks, bigger tires, the hardware definitely looks chunkier. I am hoping though that it is not so close to that 100-pound range. I think if it's actually closer to that 100-pound weight, I probably won't go through with an order on it. Ideally, I could see how it's gonna have added weight from the S3, but I would like it to maybe only weigh, I think if I'm gonna keep the pre-order, it needs to stay under 70 pounds. So if this bike, I think, goes over 70, especially 80 pounds, closer to that 100-pound range, I don't think I'm picking it up. And that's the tough thing, is we don't know what this bike is going to weigh. We've only gotten, I think, rider height specs, which is about 5.5 feet to about 6.5 feet, give or take a few inches. So I fit within that range. I'm 5'8", so I will be able to ride this bike. That was the tough thing with the S3, is 5'8" is like the absolute low end for that bike, and then the X3, which is Vanmoof's like step over, step through bike, kind of fits me better, but I don't really like the look of that bike. And a big thing for me was having the bigger tires to get over bumps and cracks and potholes and all the other stuff that's in the road and on sidewalks or anywhere you're going to be riding. It's just always tough to have like a nice clear path where you feel like, where you're actually like enjoying your ride on a road bike. At least for me, like I've never been a huge fan of like the thinner tire bikes. It's just not for me. Now, if you're someone who has reserved the Vanmoof V, I'm very curious, what features are you specifically looking for on this bike? And are there any deal breakers that, you know, like for me, I think weight is a huge concern that I have for this bike. What are your biggest concerns as far as sticking to your reservation, actually taking delivery of this bike, paying full price for it? Because it's definitely not cheap. Still, it's a much more affordable option than, say, going with like a gas car, even a used gas car, and having to put gas in a gas car, especially right now. It's about $4 a gallon on average where we are here in the Pacific Northwest, and back where a lot of my family lives in California, it's $5.5, $6 a gallon, which for a lot of people is just like no go, no dice. Not going to be driving a lot on that kind of stuff. So, and also leave a comment down below if you have an e-bike that is not by Vanmoof. I've seen the Super 73s, I've seen a few other e-bikes, kind of like what Sam was talking about. Definitely haven't seen them all, there's a ton out there. So if you have one that you particularly like, leave it down in the comments below. Let us all know why you like that bike. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. My name is Stephen Foster. Subscribe to this channel if you have yet to. There will be more tech, more photography. I'm definitely stoked to get more into like e-bikes and this sort of like transportation tech stuff. I feel like that was something that I really cared about before I started this channel, when I was doing the boosted board stuff. And I would like to get more into it now, because I know a ton of people who are into e-bikes and one wheels and stuff, especially up here. So yeah, be kind both in life and in the comments below. Like this video to send good vibes across the internet. What more do you want? What more could you want? All right, we'll do it again soon. Later.